convening having arrived, the Senate will come to order. Would ask that unauthorized visitors exit the chamber at this time. The Senate will come to order. Chair now recognizes that very debonair senator from the 53rd District, the Distinguished Rules
Thank
Committee
you, Mr. President. So true, so true. Moment in history. Nathan Dill was sworn in 2011 on this day. A great man, a great public servant. And as of you too, Mr. President, the journal's been read and found to be correct. And Jack Hill read it as well for me.
Thank you, Senator, for your good works on the journal. Is there objection to dispensing with the reading of journal? Reading of journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to confirmation of journal? Chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. All senators having bills and resolutions introduced, please bring them to the Secretary's desk this time. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions.
Senate Bill 317 by Senators Albert of the 56th, Miller of the 40th, Beach of the 21st, and others. A bill be titled and act to provide for a homestead exemption from Fulton County
State and local governmental operations.
Mr. President, that concludes the order.
Very good. It is now time for the morning roll call. Time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Any motion to excuse? Chair recognizes the distinguished senator from the 56th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 49th for business inside the Capitol.
49th, the distinguished President Pro Tem, without objection, senator will be excused. Are there any other motions to excuse? Chair recognizes the distinguished senator from the 25th, representing the Bulldog Nation.
Mr. President, I'd like to unanimously excuse the senator from the 8th. Please,
Eighth. Without objection, the distinguished senator from Valdosta will be excused. Senator from the 28th will be recognized from Coweta County.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 27th for business outside the Capitol.
27th, without objection, please keep the senator from the 27th in your prayers. I think his son is undergoing another surgery, and certainly the Senate as a whole will want to remember Senator from the 27th along with his family during this very difficult time. Without objection, the senator will be excused. Chair recognizes the distinguished senator from Peachtree City, senator from 2016. Fourteenth, without objection, senator from the 14th will be excused. Chair now recognizes the senator from the 26th. Your senator from Macon, your light is on. Senator, you wishing to be recognized? No. Any other members? Senators, please signify your presence by voting the A switch. Secretary will unlock the machine. It is now time for our morning devotion. Time for our morning devotion. Would ask that all senators please take your seats and cease all audible conversation at this time. Doorkeepers, please secure the chamber as we are preparing the Senate for our morning devotion. It is a great honor for the Senate, obviously, to always reflect in our morning devotion. And today we have the senator from the 38th with a wonderful chaplain of the day. If you would, please join me in our pledge at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation. It's now my honor to present the senator from the 38th to introduce our chaplain of the day.
Good morning, colleagues. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our pastor of the day, Reverend Catherine Booth, who is an associate pastor at the Northside United Methodist Church. Reverend Booth has been on staff at Northside Church since 2006, and she was ordained a deacon in the North Georgia Conference in 2010. Pastor Booth earned 2 associate degrees at Young Harris College before getting a BS degree in education at Valdosta State University and a Master's of Divinity degree from Emory University Candler School of Theology. Catherine was born in Indiana, but she grew up in Evans, Georgia. Her outside activities include working as a Next Faith Steps coach and a safe sanctuary trainer. She enjoys her book club and hot yoga classes, which I have failed to ask what that is, but I'll find out. Catherine also has a cat, Atticus, who was found and rescued from the Northside United Methodist Church building. Please join me in welcoming our pastor for today, Reverend Catherine Booth.
It is a joy and privilege to be with you today. I'll start with a couple words of thanks. I am always grateful for the United Methodist women who seem to run the church better than we, the clergy, do ourselves, and so I'm thankful for Senator Tate. To James Tripp, who many of you know as Jack, he is your bill status clerk. He is a fellow Young Harris College graduate, a faithful member at Northside United Methodist Church, and the one who kindly asked me if I would be willing to be a substitute if the day ever came to be invited. I just didn't know it would come quite so soon. Also to Senator Miller, you may not know that it was your invitation that allowed me to be here on the floor on Sine Die of 2016 as Eric Harrison proposed to Laura Scott, my only opportunity to be here on the floor of the Senate. And I am incredibly grateful for the Senate Research Office, for the Senate Research Office has employed many of my friends and a couple former roommates who invited me to come and know and love many of the things that go on behind these walls that those of us in the public sector don't always know about. But I also come to give thanks to each and every one of you. As someone who has lived along the Savannah River and gone to school in those enchanted valley of North Georgia, and also went to school down below the Nat Line and now serve and work in the heart of Buckhead, I say thank you to you. Thank you for your commitment, for your dedication to public service, for your willingness to leave your friends and your family, often your job, and those that you care about to do the work on my behalf and behalf of so many in this great state. Your advocacy for your constituents is noticed and appreciated, and your vigor for justice made possible for legislation. We are grateful. But I know I cannot spend all my time giving thanks. Just like in the Golden Globes, I must use my time wisely, for while there is no proverbial music here to rush me off the stage, I do know that y'all keep up with the time. So with that in mind, I want to gently and humbly ask you these questions. What will be your strategy for nurturing your soul during this legislative session? How will you maintain your joy? When will you rest? Who will make sure you laugh? Who will make sure that you spend time with those who love you and like you, even when you do not vote their way? Who will give you a strategy and make sure you honor the long-honored tradition of Sabbath tending, the practice of resting with a purpose for restoration? Some of you are probably thinking, it's only day 3. I got this. I'm pumped. I'm ready. I have work to do. Do not slow me down. We have 40 days. Allow me to go with vigor and passion. And I do know you have important work to do and not always a lot of time, but this is a marathon and not a sprint as you go throughout this legislative session. The longest days are still to come, and some of those days will be filled with draining committee meetings, nasty grams, belligerent phone calls, the degrading media reports, or at least that's what I anticipate from my constituents during these next 40 days as we prepare for Easter, and I understand you might get it worse than I. And so as one of your chaplains now, I'm officially on your team. As a Northside Church, we pray for our legislative officers and those elected to office every Sunday, but now I am praying for you specifically. And I am praying that you will be well rested. Yes, each and every one of you well rested. That you will find work, life, family balance. That your family and friends will recognize you come spring. That you will physically be healthier at the end of this legislative session than you were now. I'm not kidding. Could you be healthier after a 40-day session? That your joys will be tended to just as much as your struggles. That your exhaustion will not be worn as a badge of honor. And that the passion that brought you to this elected office will allow you to persevere with privilege and not as a burden, because you will be the happiest, the healthiest, the best rested, and the hardest working version of yourself. Sabbath tending is not only good for you, it is good for all of us who have to work, live, and drive the streets of Atlanta with you. We want you rested, happy, full of joy, and ready to serve, not exhausted. So I ask that you will turn to your neighbors, that you'll look to your left and your right, that you might look across the aisle, or you might even look to the house. Will you find an ally, someone who will ask you not only what are you doing for the state of Georgia, but what are you doing to honor the holy within each and every one of us? I believe in doing so, that if you will take care of yourself, that if you will honor the practice of Sabbath tending, that you will declare your faith in God, that you will affirm and realize that you are not the divine, and nor am I. If the one who created the heavens and the earth can rest, if the historical commands of Scripture can demand a Sabbath day, and even if the holiest of humans can take a little time off work to go fishing, you and I should do the same too. I hope that throughout these next 40 days, but throughout all of your life, that you will live in a manner that expresses a deep faith that is made proof in the fact that you will take a break, that you will rest, that you will not always be in charge, and you will not always be known just as senator, but that I will not always be Reverend, but I will be Catherine. I will be one well-rested and one well-reliant. Can you be well-rested? Can you be well-reliant? And that in the days and weeks ahead, that you will recognize your greatest work is done in partnership. Partnership with one another, and partnership with the one who created the world and also created the need for rest and renewal. So I invite you now to join me in prayer. God, you are the giver of all good gifts. We claim that we cannot do this on our own. We need one another. We also need to be intentional about self-care as a holy and worthwhile act. Grant that we may be nurtured by friends and family, Georgia produce, sunset walks, afternoon naps, gardening, holy encounters, and laughter. Multiply our sleep and decrease our angst. Allow us to be a Sabbath-honoring and soul-tending people so that we may most faithfully live out our calling to love and serve our neighbors. In the name of the one who models rest and promises to daily renew our souls, we pray. Amen.
That was great. Thank you. let me have the Senate's attention, if I might. Let me ask the senators to cast your eyes to the rostrum for a moment. It is always a great honor to have our Doctor of the Day to give of their time, to volunteer to be with each of the Senate and the House members to keep us healthy. And today we are very honored to have a familiar face back with us and to present the Doctor of the Day. It's my privilege to call upon this distinguished senator from the 41st.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Colleagues, good morning. I am so pleased to present the Doctor of the Day. It's my honor to introduce to you Dr. Carmen Sultan. She's on staff at Emory University School of Medicine and belongs to the Department of Pediatric Emergency Medicine. Some of you may have seen on Facebook that I made 2 recent trips to this very same pediatric ER over the holidays, one for each of my sons. But that was the first time I ever went, so I'm now hoping for no more visits anytime soon. But I do feel good in reporting that the care that I received there for both my kids was amazing, and everyone is doing great. She has hospital privileges at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta at Eggleston and at Hughes Spalding campuses, as well as children's sedation services at Eggleston. She earned her medical degree from Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee, and completed her residency and fellowship training at Emory University School of Medicine. In her spare time, Dr. Sultan enjoys running, swimming, weight training, and reading. So we will all have to be trying during the session to keep up with her. And please join me in welcoming Dr. Sultan.
All right, thank you. I don't know if this goes any lower. I'll have to hold it. This is my 3rd year as the Doctor of the Day, so I'm honored to be back. I appreciate you having me. As Ms. Parent said, I am a Georgia native. I grew up in DeKalb County. I've been here my entire life. I graduated from Chamblee High School in DeKalb County. I still live there. I live right over in near downtown Decatur in Winona Park. My kids go to Renfro Middle School and Winona Park Elementary, so Georgia is very much my home. And I did all of my training at Emory University, and I still work there. I am on staff at Eggleston and Hughes Spalding. And I just want to thank you this morning for all the work that you do for Georgia's children and all the medical care that they receive. At Eggleston, we provide trauma care and surgical emergency care for all of Georgia's children, for all of their emergency needs. And I hope that you continue to advocate for Georgia's children, especially for those that are underinsured and uninsured, especially for Georgia's children that are in rural areas and do not have access to medical care, for those of them that we have to fly in emergently. I appreciate all of the work that you do. We're building a brand new hospital so that we can provide all of the care that Georgia's children need. So I continue to make a plea that you will continue to work hard for them. I appreciate it, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
We have a special recognition we would like to do at this time, and the Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 583 by Senators Davenport of the 44th, C of the 34th, and Jones of the 10th, a resolution commending Clayton State University and recognizing January 10th, 2018 as Clayton State University Day at the state capitol and for other purposes. Whereas Clayton State students give back to the community, building homes with Habitat for Humanity, contributing 16,000 service hours, and tutoring 840 high school students. And whereas Clayton State University was named one of 79 higher education institutions across the nation in the Chronicle of Higher Education's list of 2017 great colleges to work for, and whereas in 2017 Clayton State University was named as one of the top workplaces in metropolitan Atlanta by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution for its 7th consecutive year, and whereas SR Education Group ranked Clayton State's online degrees among the top 25 most affordable in the nation. Now therefore be resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Clayton State University and recognize January 10th, 2018 as Clayton State University Day at the state capitol. That concludes the order.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. We are very, very honored to have Clayton State that's present with us here today, and I think everyone knows not just simply the affordability of this institution, but also their commitment to excellence. And we value their leadership and what they are doing on behalf of all of our students that are attending this great institution. And with that being said, it's my honor now to call upon the distinguished senator from the 44th to speak to the resolution and recognize our special guest.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, we are so honored and just delighted to recognize Clayton State University today. Joining me today is my colleague from the Senate District 44, the other part of Clayton County. On the podium today, representing Clayton State, is their outstanding president, Dr. Tim Hines. Also, the provost and vice president for academic affairs, Dr. Kevin Dermick, and the president of the Student Government Association, Mr. Ahmad Johnson. The mission of the university focuses on empowering their students through rich experiences that engage their critical thinking skills and prepare them for their chosen careers. Dreams come true at Clayton State University. This is an institution that has over 1,500 plus students, supported by family, faculty, staff, and an enthusiastic stakeholders, located on a beautiful 240-acre site with 6 lakes, certainly an environment for studying and learning. Clayton State students give back to the community. That's one thing I like about them. Building homes with Habitat for Humanity, contributing 16,000 service hours, tutoring 840 high school students. And also the School of Nursing faculty and students assisted victims impacted by Hurricane Irma, which received a letter of gratitude from Governor Deal. Also, the university was named one of 79 higher education institutions across the nation in the Chronicle of Higher Education's list of 2017 great colleges to work for. And last but not least, James Magazine ranked Clayton State as the #1 best value for Georgia higher education based on net price, return on investment, and quality of education. We are really delighted and honored to have Clayton State come today, and that is an institution where dreams made real. Would you please welcome the president of this outstanding institution, Dr. Tim Hines. Thank you, Senator. This is your resolution. Thank you.
On behalf of more than 7,000 students at our Carnegie Foundation identified engaged institution, I want to say thank you for your service. 2017 was a year in which Clayton State's number of graduates was the highest in the history of the institution. The institution is on pace to exceed that total in 2018. And our ability to do that, to serve the families of Georgia, that ability is provided by the work that is done in this chamber and across the hall. And so on behalf of students, faculty, and staff, and quite frankly the region we serve in South Metro Atlanta, I want to say thanks for the work you do, and thanks for this opportunity to speak to what Benjamin Franklin referred to as an august assembly. Thank you.
All right, well done, well done. Tim, thank you. Good, excellent. Let's come down and are there any unanimous consents? Any senator wishing to rise on a point of personal privilege? We have the very lovely and very talented senator from Albany. The senator from the 12th would be recognized this time.
Good morning, colleagues. Just a reminder, on tomorrow, we are going to experience Southwest Georgia Day here at the Capitol. So I invite you to come down to the second floor to visit with Southwest Georgians that are coming way, way far, far away. So please join us on tomorrow to celebrate Southwest Georgia Day at the Capitol. Thank you so much.
Any other members wishing to rise on a point of personal privilege? Chair recognizes distinguished senator from Ocilla, senator from the 7th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, as you'll see on your desk, the annual yearly alligator that you get in recognition of the Okefenokee occasion this evening at the Railroad Depot. We would invite you to join myself, the senators from the 3rd, 13th, 8th, 19th, and I believe that's it. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But there is a good group of folks up here from South Georgia, South Central, Southeast Georgia for the Okefenokee occasion. We'd love for you to join us and come eat our good food. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Thank you, Senator. Chair now recognizes the distinguished senator from the 32nd. 32nd. No? You wish to be recognized?
I just wanted to say what an honor it is to be part of this great body, and I'm really excited about the session.
Hear, hear. Well, well said. Well, we're honored to have you. Chair now recognizes the senator from the 20th. Senator from the 20th from Perry, Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. The American Bikers Advocating Training and Education are here with us today at the Capitol, and they are having a chili lunch. I realize we have the President Pro Tem's lunch today, but they wanted me to announce that and tell you to please tell your administrative assistants they are welcome to come. And if you have time, please go by and just say hello. They are in room 219 in the Capitol starting at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Great. Please make plans to be there. Chair now recognizes the distinguished senator from the 36th. 36th on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you. Good morning, colleagues, and Happy New Year to all of you. It's great to be back in the chamber and ready to do business. And a quick word of welcome that has, of course, already been extended, but it's just exciting to see the faces of 3 new senators who have joined us. And I can't help but remark that they are all 3 women. We applaud expanding the ranks of women in our chamber. And our chaplain of the day, of course, delivered a great message, another woman. That's right, introduced by a woman. And it's a new day dawning, I think, in terms of the role of women in politics, and we're seeing it in electoral returns, and we're seeing it in people qualifying to run, and I think that's all a good thing. Now, I take the well this morning, having said that, and also congratulations, many people here got the exciting new chairmanships, did you not? There are a lot of appointments and a lot of change because we had so many people exiting their seats, and so we look forward to that. I think there'll be a lot of new energy in our committees from these chairmanships and the folks that have taken those seats in leadership. Before I take my seat, I want to point out something that I'm not from the coast. You all may know, you may recall, having known me for some time, that I'm from downtown Atlanta. I live 5 hours from the coast any way you drive, I think, unless you can show me a quicker way. Our 100 miles of coastline is an incredible asset. And there are those of you here that are elected and represent the coastal areas, and I'm sure you'll be weighing in. But it's troubling to me when we hear the news that the administration in Washington is removing the ban on oil drilling on the East Coast that had been in place. And we see that every state on the East Coast that would be impacted that has coastline has weighed in and is cautionary and is sending messages to Washington and are in robust conversations about the wisdom of this decision or the lack of wisdom in this decision. We know our coastal areas are invaluable to us, invaluable places for tourism, incredible real estate values there for people who want to live and work and raise their families on the coast, and a tourism industry that is truly massive, that is drawn to the coast of Georgia. And we've had in place marshland protection for decades, good policies that have been in place on the coast. And I really would ask of our state's leadership, are you going to get involved in that conversation about what happens on our coast with drilling? We have marine life there that's invaluable and that's critical to the ecosystem. And if you just want to talk about dollars and cents, you don't go messing with a good thing without knowing what you're doing and not having unintended consequences. So did you hear last night that Florida got exempted? Their state leadership raised enough sand about this decision to make a convincing case to the president and those in Washington that it's not a good idea to start drilling for oil around the Florida coastline. They're exempted. Anybody interested in seeking an exemption for Georgia? I know the 100-mile organization that strives to speak up for the sanctity of our coastline is meeting in a conference this weekend. I expect you'll be hearing more as you go home from the people who treasure our coastal properties and that great natural resource and the spawning ground for the right whale there. That's the nursery for the right whale. You need to approach it carefully, and I would urge those of you who represent the coast to speak up, and I would urge our state leadership to be at the table on this decision nationally. We're the only state on the East Coast that has showed that we have not weighed in on it. Thank you very much. Appreciate your attention, and let's have a great 2018 session.
Are there any motions to withdraw or commit? Chair recognizes the majority leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand adjourned until 10 o'clock a.m. on Thursday, January 11th.
10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Secretary will read the announcements.
Judiciary will meet at 4 p.m. and 3:07 in the CLOB. Senator Butch Miller invites you to join your colleagues and former Senate Presidents pro tem for a luncheon celebrating the beginning of the 2018 legislative session today at 12 p.m. in the Capital City Club. That concludes the order.
Those are the announcements. Chair recognizes Senator from the 31st.
I'd just like to bring to everyone's attention, tomorrow is Keeping Georgia Wild Day. This is a sort of a new name, but a traditional day for us. On Thursday of the first week, we'll have some displays and stuff down on the second floor for you, and I hope that you'll drop by and learn about our coastal resources and opportunities to hunt and fish and enjoy Georgia's outdoors. That'll be tomorrow.
Thank you, Senator. Also, I would just bring the Senate's attention to our new screen. For those that have been here a number of years, as you know, we used to have to drop both screens on the side. Now we have a beautiful screen directly behind me that obviously is digital in nature and makes the Senate far more professional and efficient. President Pro Tem's luncheon today, please be reminded of that. The majority leader has moved that the Senate stand adjourned until tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. Senate still wants to be hard at work, but the ayes clearly have it. We stand adjourned.